recording now.
Oh my God, it's
Oh
telling
wow, that was really. Oh, it's supposed to be a secret.
me too late.
Oh really? Hello, Brent Fortune.
What's up?
What's up?
What's your name again?
So
Who's that?
uh,
Raul?
what? Such a bitch. I'm sorry. Hey, hello guys, and welcome to Coffee Paradigm Podcast. I don't know if you know the name of the podcast, but it's Coffee Paradigm Podcast. My name is Brent Fortune, and your name is?
Oh, Raul Rodas,
Oh,
WBC champion.
Oh, nice. When did you won?
You can see the trophy behind me.
Oh, really? Oh, that's super nice. Yeah. Is it like draw? Like a drawing?
I have a different room only for trophies.
Oh, really? Nice.
Yeah.
I don't know how much time or how long had we passed since we actually talked or seen each other.
Not long enough. I mean, too long.
Yeah, I mean, goodbye. The new people from coffee or like industry or Guatemalan or whatever, maybe in high tea, like doesn't know you. And
Thank goodness. That's
you can start dancing in Honolulu and like, you know. But one of the things that you're a big lover of cats. You're a big lover of, you like iguanas. And you hate coffee and you like tea.
That's right.
Right?
I'm drinking some tea. Drinking tea now.
Oh, nice.
Delicious.
Oolong. No, enough with the joke. So, no, welcome to everybody. This is basically my relationship with Brent since I met him. And it's been a particularly fun part of my life. And I wanted to talk to you because it's... first of all, I think that I kind of miss you, and second of all, it's a lot of the things that I know of coffee and that I succeed in coffee. It was one of the persons that believed in me since the beginning. It was you, and I think that a lot of people don't know this story very well, and it's one of the persons that for me is really important, even though that I don't tell you that much. But it's just like really, really, you were like really important in the industry, coffee industry. And I think that you were a part of the history and stuff. Now that you're not, like a lot of people have changed and everything, and you still are in the coffee, but I just wanted to remember a lot of the things that we talked about, a lot of the fun things that happened. And also to know about a little bit of a history and know you that, you know, who the hell is Brent Fortune? Like, who the hell is B Forge? And like, I don't know. What's up?
What's up? We had some good times. I remember driving. I remember you flew to like Portland, I think. We went to, I don't remember. You flew to LA? I don't remember. I've spent time with you in Los Angeles, San Francisco, Portland, Seattle, Vancouver.
Yeah.
All the West Coast.
We basically did like a West Coast tour of coffee. Like, so everything started because I used to compete in the National Barista Championships, and you were a judge. Yeah. And I think you went to Guatemala like 2 or 3 times to being a judge, right?
Yeah, I can't even remember how it's first started. Like, I had Mexico was the first country where I started going there to help them with their competition, and those guys were like so organized of all the.
Same in Guatemala.
Yeah, and then somehow I got to come to Guatemala, like with Ana Cafe. I think that was the first time, I think. Yeah. But also I came there to visit you and like stayed at your house with your mom was like making me breakfast, and you like had already gone to work.
Yeah. I was, I don't know. I used to work, I think that I used to work still in E-Cafe or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know. That was a bizarre
time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
it's hard to remember all the trips and like the order of the trips because I was traveling so much, sometimes too much, and like it was like, okay, what country is this? Like, yeah, but Guatemala was great because because you have Ana Cafe there, and they were, you know, pretty organized in terms of wanting the competition in Guatemala to start to transform coffee drinking culture and barista culture in the country, because it was like, I remember going to like cafes and it was a lot of like milkshakes, and like the coffee was not like extracted grade or roasted grade. It was kind of dark. But then in the competition, you would taste much better espresso because the roasters were roasting it lighter maybe for competition, or Ana Cafe was helping them consult those guys. Like the guys that worked in the lab there would be like helping the competitors like make their coffee better. But there were also some like not good drinks too.
Just like mine, like eggnog.
Especially like signature like drinks was like people put too much stuff in the signature drinks, you know, back in the early days of those competitions. Like,
yeah, it was fun though. Like it was like, oh, here's my signature drink, and it has like 3 ounces of milk and like 2 powders of like white chocolate.
White chocolate.
And there's like there's like
ice cream, sprinkles, whipped cream. Yeah.
I mean, obviously, like everyone, I mean, went through that. I think that, I mean, that time we're talking about probably 2008 or 7 or something like that.
Yeah.
And I remember like there was a point in the competitions which I think everyone goes through, that it's like it's not the best one. It's just not the the worst. It's not the worst one that wins. I don't know. Yeah. But I think it was really interesting, and I remember that time we're in a competition. I won. I think it was the first year that I won, or second. I don't remember well, but. Then you were like, hey, you know, like this is great, and I see like you should learn more about coffee. I think we were going to Atlanta, to compete, and there was like you should come to like just, you know, like the West regionals, and you know there's like these legendary guys like Devin and
Devin PD and Ryan Wilbur,
Ryan Wilbur, and like.
All those Intelli guys.
And they were like, you know, these legends, and it was the like the intelligentsia time, like, you know, like it was like growing a lot, and I think that's the reason why I went to Los Angeles, and we like spent time there, and it was like I went to Intelligentsia and you know, Stump Downs and all of those guys, and all that time, which they're like different coffee shops at the time. And we stay at Devin's house, I believe, a couple of days. Or
Devin and Ryan, I feel like we went to Santa Cruz
as well. Yeah,
and Chris, and was Chris there? Jared was there. I don't remember if Chris was there yet.
We stayed at Jared, and Jared. It was on Cat and Cloud. It was on. He used to work for Verve, and Verve is just like this small place in Santa Cruz, not like now, you know. And it was a really great fun trip, and that was the first time that I tasted Guatemala coffee as I have never tasted it before, and I fell in love with Guatemalan coffee. As stupid as it sounds, you know. I was like, oh, this is really good. Where is it from? And it was like, Guatemala. Like, what the fuck?
That's why when I was asked to come to Guatemala by Ana Cafe, I was like, of course, yes. I mean, we all of us in North America, especially the West Coast, we had been drinking Guatemalan coffees for so long, and it was one of the favorite. It was a very dependable, because when a cafe was serving a Guatemalan coffee, you had a pretty good idea it was going to be pretty good. It was going to taste good. It was going to be well processed, probably well roasted.
And what was your first impression when you drink a coffee and like you were so excited? You went like, oh yes, I want an espresso. And they were
look, I had been to Mexico already, and like it's just different in the origin countries because the roasting was not as evolved yet, and was, you know, it's so cultural differences what people think tastes good is so different from country to country and, you know, continent to continent. And like having been to like the WBC, you know, you have to just sort of set aside kind of your personal preference and evaluate the way it's structured on the score sheet. But yeah, it was all the countries then, it was everyone was drinking really, really dark roast, like dark
shit.
Yeah, it wasn't good. It was highly bitter, highly astringent, and sweetness and acidity were really hard to find. And I still remember the days of I think like Panama or Nicaragua, one of those countries, and like doing a judge's calibration and trying to, they were tasting acidity, and to me it was like, oh, this, you know, there's some acidity in this coffee, and they were like, oh, terrible, sour, it tastes like sour, like lemons, like, oh no. And it was really difficult to try to get them to understand that the difference. What tasted good to me as acidity, they were registering as, this is a negative, this is bad, it's sour, and it was a real challenge to try to calibrate, like understand why it tasted to them sour, and to me and some other like white guys it tasted like acidity, that we had come to understand that this is a good thing, and if you can get an espresso to extract some acidity and sweetness, you're doing something right.
And it's really, I mean, it's interesting because for me it's funny, and it probably, like you say, like, oh, that was ages ago. But for some people that are new in coffee, still they think like that, and it's really hard. Like even for specialty coffee shops, and you're like, people still like, oh, this is too acidity for me, like, you know. And it's like, like no, like acidity is good and like sweetness, but some of the things that also, it was because of roast, but some of like, when I started like to buy coffees or use coffees for competition, like they were not like, you used to buy not the great coffee or not the greatest coffee. It was just like the leftovers, good coffee. Yeah. And that was a lot of things that needed, I mean, besides roast and stuff like that, but it was weird. And when I tasted that coffee, and it was La Maravilla, it was a really interesting, just to, what? Like that, this is not possible to be tasting like Meyer lemon and like sweetness, and it was like not bitter, and it was so, and I think that's, I mean, not the first one, but probably the second things in my life that I fell in love about drinking espresso, because it was like, oh, this is so like biscuit and like so yummy, and then I wanted to bring that, you know, that flavor, that, you know, whatever profile you wanted to hear. And then I remember that we went to Santa Cruz and started drinking espresso. I pulled some shots in Verve with JT. You know what? I'm going to pull some pictures and just put it in that space over there in yours. And then, and yeah. And it was a long trip, but it was a really fun trip because I found like this whole other world. And I think that for me, that was a lesson of life, to be better at competition, just to understand what I wanted to extract from coffees. You know, it didn't help me like better technically or whatever, because that you learn, but just to understand like what you want to achieve of a good tasting coffee. That was it. It was the same.
It was the same for me. Like that was the reason I wanted to help make the competitions better, because I wanted people to taste the things I was tasting and like find all these nuances, and that it doesn't have to taste like dark, bitter, strong, you know, those words that people use. And then everyone in coffee I know has that one day where they taste a coffee and they're like, I didn't know it could taste like this. Like I remember a coffee that Bronwyn Cerna had brought from Seattle, and it was the first time I tasted like that geisha thing, and it was like, I was like walking around telling everyone I could find, like I can't believe this coffee, it's changed me, and the competitions were able to do that with espresso especially, like it didn't have, you could pull those good shots and the god shots, and like with that color and that crema and the red, streaks and the tiger stripes, all those terms we used to use. And it was like, we all wanted the coffee to be better. And for everyone to be having some standards to like try to make the world of espresso more interesting and exciting, and starting to pull single origins, and not everything has to be a blend, and just like dig into all those. We were all sort of learning together, it felt like, and like the equipment was getting better and the science was getting better, and we were still like so stupid back then. But when you look at now, it's like so easy. There's all these tools that we didn't have, and all this information that we didn't have, and the farmers too. The agronomy has gotten so much better, and the farmers understanding their soil and their water and the harvesting and the varietals and experimenting too. Yeah, I'm happy
it's grown so much.
And it was one of the things that was so crazy as a judge when you started to travel to the producing countries. It was like, why do you guys, all your best coffee is in Europe and America and Asia, and what you have left here is like the scraps and the like just okay stuff. How, it was kind of like, that's not fair. Like, the economy, the economics of it made sense. You want to sell these best coffees. It's a business, and you want to sell the best coffees to the people that will pay the highest prices. And those are the, different than the countries where it's grown. And part of having those competitions in all those countries was to try to change that too.
And I think that, overall, it did change. Like, yeah. For me, it changed like year after year. I think I don't remember very well, but I competed in Atlanta and everything went out. And I remember the blog. I remember Ryan making for the competition. Ryan at the last minute making. Do you remember the music? He was like, oh, whatever. Here's
he made your CD. It was like burning CDs for you. Yeah.
And I was listening into the old iPods, and whatever. I don't remember, And it was really cool. Ryan was the DJ or making my music.
Yeah.
It was really fun.
There's still certain songs that'll be like, if that song comes on, I'll be like, oh, that's WBC 2009. Like I remember this. Yeah. There were certain songs that kept getting used by all those big baristas.
And I think everything, like you or Ryan or listening to Devin, like Devin was like, he is, and I believe that he's like really passionate about what he talks about, no matter if it's whatever he's doing. Like all of those things, like you just learn and see, like, oh my God, we're like, what am I doing? Like everything changes, and I think that there's still baristas that need to be like that. And competition right now, it's totally different than that. Like obviously 10 years ago. But I remember that
like public speaking skills and presentation skills, and how to talk about coffee, how to talk about yourself, and how to like there was a showmanship element to the competition. Yeah.
But not necessarily like making it, oh, this is amazing. Because I remember the trend over there was like, Devin was one of the persons that given competitions over there, like regionals was more about how to make it simpler, to make it amazing as you go. And I think that sometimes it's go rounds and rounds, and how to understand that it's more how to be like, just passionate and be calm and to talk about it. And I think sometimes a lot of baristas forget that, just to be articulated and how to, you have my attention about what you're saying.
Sometimes judging in countries without English, when Spanish, I started to like understand the key words like honey and hot and milk and all these caramel, chocolate, all those words, sugar, sweetness. But judging in I remember judging in Japan, and like I didn't understand any Japanese, right? And they would have like an interpreter there, like in my ear, like telling me what the barista was saying. And sometimes I would be like, no, just, it's okay. Like, I don't need you to be in my ear. I just want to like watch and like, and sort of absorb what they're,
the energy
and like, you can, it taught me like how to disconnect from the words a little bit and just like focus on the cup, the coffee, what they're doing, and like the energy and the flow and like the smoothness of, you know, sometimes it was so some of those baristas were so captivating, and just like the connection they could make and like the energy. And so it wasn't always about the words, and sometimes judges would get really hung up on the words. Well, they said like da 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 da, and that you know. Well, how did you feel? How did it make you feel? Did they make you feel comfortable, relaxed, like they were in control? Yeah.
And I think that, I think that those things are still one of the hardest things that still, like, barista competitors say, like, oh, why like this guy won, or why this guy made it through the finals. Like, besides the coffee, because you don't taste it, but it's sometimes how do you engage and how do you feel like with them, because it's just, you know, how to make comfortable the judges or any person. And
those are things that can be difficult to train or to teach, because you either sort of have some of that hospitality and service in you or you don't, and it can feel really forced if the person's not comfortable doing those presentations. So competition was not for everybody. You had to want to do it, and not like your boss wants you to do it. You had to want to do it, and you could tell when someone was faking it or had trained, like, some judging in Japan versus judging in WBC. Some of those competitors would like learn the presentation in English, and you could tell it wasn't their first language, and sometimes it was clunky. Some of them like did it even in English, did it so well, but it was great judging in those countries because they didn't have to use English or whatever, and so it was more natural. Greece too, the Greece guys, it's so crazy. Like, it's so different from country to country.
Cultural and how to use the words, and like Stefanos. I don't know. What do you still watch, like, right now, like, competitions, or you're something like, it's like, nah.
I just don't know. I don't know any of those guys that are competing, or girls. I've stopped. I stopped. I felt like it was time to stop when I would be like judging there, and I was like, wait, what did he just say? Like, it was too. You've done it so many times, it wasn't fresh or like interesting, and I felt like I was just doing it for, my heart was not in it any longer.
Yeah. And I also think that sometimes, like, it happened to me, and this was something even as a competitor, and I believe that probably you're a judging. Like, people have judged like so many times, or I have competed like, even though whatever 5, 10 or million times, that you go to a place and then you just take an espresso or a drink, and you're like judging it while you're looking at it instead of enjoying it, and it kind of sucks because you're like fucking so mentally into that. That your brain like doesn't stop like your brain stops enjoying.
You're constantly critical and you can't stop.
Exactly. And then it happened to me a couple of times that I watched the competition, and instead of like enjoying what he was listening to, I was like, oh, he didn't clean the grinder. Oh, he was I got to drop there. Fuck, 1 point less. Like, and they're like you're not enjoying unless you're there and unless you're judging, and then you want to taste the drinks and stuff like that. But you start.
Sometimes you would go to a cafe and you couldn't get just a normal espresso from them, because they would pull it and they'd be like, oh no, wait, I need to make it again. It's like, oh wait, I'll make it again. Like, and it's like, I don't want all that. Like, just make me the normal, like for every other customer, the same thing. And and then it's like, what did you think? Did you like it? How was it? What can I do better? It's like, I don't know. I
just want to drink it.
I just want to enjoy it. Like, I'm not here to fill out a score sheet for you. I just want to drink your coffee and have the, experience and just enjoy it, and not like think, oh, sweetness, balance, acidity. Oh.
Right now for me, it's the opportunity for me to start enjoying coffee again in a way of going to different places And I do, and sometimes it's just like I just want an espresso, and then I turn around, or like I just like talk about something else or whatever, like, oh yeah, the traffic was like really shitty today or whatever. Just trying to make like a non-coffee conversation. Yeah, because it feels like like you say, like people are like, or making you not nervous, or like whatever. I just or the classic, like, oh, what method do you want me to make it? And it's like, I don't know, I don't care. Like, you make it as you want it, and I will enjoy it. Like, I just want a cup of coffee.
Yeah.
And it's weird in a way, but it's good that people want it to your acceptance, if you want to put it like that. But they should be more secure. Like right now, competitions are starting again, or whatever it happens, like Milan or whatever. I don't know, with all the stuff, but I was this guy that he's competing, and I'm gonna meet him this week. And it's like, if you need anything that I can help, because I whatever I can help, I'll be there. And he was like, oh, so this coffee, and I have this, and I have this, and I don't know if this option or this option. It's like, I was like, and I'm gonna use this with milk or whatever. I was like, okay. What, you're not convinced? And I'm like, no, it's just like, whatever you say, like, I can help you out until I taste it, or what you are totally convinced. I'm, like, you have to be 100% sure. And it's just a constant thing about how do you make origin countries better again for competitions, because they've lost, we're lost. I don't know. You need to come again.
I want to. I did this project recently with the Revolver guys, John and George and those guys, and they made this box, a tasting box, where it's like, I have it here, this slide. So you order this box, and then it's 24 coffees, and it comes with a little journal. I'm not trying to promote or like sell this. I'm just telling you like about the project. So
you can promote it. I like it. It's
like there's 24 coffees, and it doesn't tell you anything about what's in the bag. Nice. It's just it's numbered 1 through 24. And so each day the idea is that each day you drink that coffee for that date. So it starts on like May 1st, you drink coffee 1, the 2nd you drink 2, and then you can write in here like some notes, how did you brew it? What did you notice? How was it processed? And then we were writing, me and John were writing every day, like about each coffee, because we have the list of the coffees. And so we were like, I was doing research and like, where's this coffee from? Who roasted it? And then each day in the morning we would post on the website, here's a story about this coffee, where it came from, probably who grew it, or the co-op, how it was processed, the varietal, what that might tell you about what you're tasting in the cup. And then we'd have a section on the roaster also. And doing that box, like, I was learning so many things, some of it new, and some of it I just hadn't like dug into the details in a long time. And it was really fun to get excited again about coffee and how much has changed, and coffees that were coming from places I didn't even know about or hadn't like paid attention to, like Peru.
So it's like 24 different origins. Wow.
Sometimes it was 24 different roasters, and they tried to do a combination of natural processed, washed, processed, semi-washed, and try to mix it like that. But it was pulled from the list of roasters that they buy coffee from, because they're Revolver's a multi-roaster shop. They don't roast coffee, they buy from, and they try to get some from Europe, some from Canada, North America, some from Asia. So it was a real good variety, but it was like May, June, and July. So you're limited to, some of the origins aren't fresh in that time of year. And there were some coffees in there that was like a little bit past crop, and you could sort of taste that, but
which is good.
Yeah, it's good. The idea was not to taste everything that tastes great, but to taste a bunch of different coffees, roasted different ways, processed different ways, and see if you can start to identify the difference. We even asked everyone to like look at the beans out of the bag and see, you know, how's the size, how's the color, how's the consistency of the color. I was like cutting the beans with a razor blade sometimes to like look at the roast development, not so much to write about it, but because I wanted to understand again. And I was like texting some of my roasting friends, like, is this good? Like, what do you think of the, you know, how did they roast this? Is it well developed? And like, and there was some such interesting stories, like Timor-Leste, which is this island in just north of Australia, like Southeast Asia, and I had no idea they were even growing coffee there. And it's a little like Rwanda's story a little bit. Like the coffee has helped that they only became independent in the last few years, and coffee's like helped them develop their country and their economy a little bit. And it's like, what the heck? I had no, and the coffee was really delicious.
Yeah, like you don't think that you might taste coffee from there, and it's, that's really
in China.
interesting.
There was a coffee from China in the box, and like I was like, China grows specialty coffee. I had no idea.
Yeah, and
then you look at the like websites and the pictures of the farms, and you're like, of course they're growing coffee. It's beautiful there. Like it's well groomed and like rolling hills, and it looks beautiful. No wonder the coffee.
This still like it's a going on thing, like the Revolver box.
We stopped. They did May, June, July. They stopped. They didn't do one for August. The people were a little bit like, it's too much. Like people were not buying every month because it was like it's too many different types of coffees to taste. You get sort of overwhelmed by that when every single day it's a different coffee, and especially if there's one that you like. And
you can't drink it again.
I want more of that one. Well, by the time the box was like shipped and packaged and everything, some of those coffees were sold out. So it was like some of those coffees were gone. But it's based off a project. It's based off a thing they've done every December. They do an Advent calendar.
Oh,
so
okay,
it's the same idea. It's like 24 days. That's how they got to 24. It's 24 days of coffees from December 1st until Christmas. And the Advent calendar has more like some like fancy coffees, because a lot of roasters, or some roasters, especially European ones, do like a Christmas blend or a special Christmas release of their coffee. Yeah.
But that's interesting. I mean, I think the idea behind it's all of these projects that make you wanted to fall in love with coffee again and wanted to learn more about things.
I did some like, I went down some rabbit holes about processing and like this like anaerobic fermentation stuff, and like it was like, who came up with this? That seems like so much work and so much equipment and trouble. Like, is it really worth it? Like, what are we just experimenting with these things to be, because we're bored, or is it actually making coffee that tastes really good and it's so different that people will notice?
Yeah.
And then trying to learn about those things, and then trying to like explain them to, you know, the people drinking these coffees in a way that wasn't too scientific. It was like a lot of work sometimes.
Well, it sounds like fun. Like, I mean, it's, for me, like tasting new coffees, it's one of the things that you just keep learning, because sometimes like you want to go back into a simple flavor or something different. Yeah. And it's been interesting to watch like what has changed in the industry. And naturals used to have such a negative connotation, and like no one oh my god, that's a natural, no way, I'm not touching that. And it's still like that with some coffee nerds or people, but I've had some naturals that are absolutely stunning and delicious, and like I wanted to drink them again and again. And it's been fun to be open to things that you used to think were never going to be good to actually now be good, and to appreciate those process. Well, the same thing about anaerobic and carbonic maceration, and everybody like doing a lot of like yeast stuff. And
what do you think of that stuff?
I mean, it's for me, everything tasting good as long as it tastes properly, like good, maybe like if it's something clean and it's something that you can appreciate, like, I mean, you can taste it and over and over. There's some coffees that I have tasted that are just like overwhelmed, and you're like, the same as washed, like you can find natural that are like, wow, this tastes like garbage. Or like, like really fermented things. But I've found it's really like, now that I'm cupping now, because I'm exporting more like green coffee and like sourcing and stuff for more customers. I have had like some customers from Russia, and they're like, oh, we want like this anaerobic, and they're like carbonic macerations and all this crazy stuff.
Why do they want those?
Because it's like, I think it's part of the fun of enjoying, like for customers, it's easier for them to be tasting coffee and it's like something crazy. It's like, if you, like in Korea, like if you have something different that no one has, that is the goal, like to have something that is like unique. Like I had a customer.
It's why those like COE coffees sell for like, you're like, what? And it's because those companies or those roasters want this like one coffee that is like super, super, super rare, delicious, beautiful, delicate. And you go like, how can they sell that for like by the pound or the cup, by the bag? But they have consumers that will buy that, or it's on their menu for like the crazy, like, oh my gosh, let's go to this shop I know because they have this one coffee that's like $50 for a cup or something.
So I got this guy. So he's from Russia. His name is Roman. He makes experiments like coffees from like Ethiopia, or like, methods that he learns from other places, and he wants to make it in the origin countries. I mean, we make some experiments right now in Guatemala with one farm, and he sells coffee like not like 300 grams, but like, I don't know, like 150 grams or so. He sells a bunch of those, like, and they're like this kind of in between. I don't know how to call it anymore. I don't care. Like, it's just, it's anaerobic / fermentation in bags, and it has like so many different names and yeast or whatever, but it makes you try to taste the coffee just different, understanding how the oxygen or whatever the components of the bean itself, like it behaves. And it's interesting, and people love that market. There's some people like I don't know, depending on who your customer is, but in Russia they're really into all of this stuff. Like we were, I don't know, in the States they were before, and then probably they're gonna get bored about that, or I don't know, whatever. But it's just interesting how to change ways of tasting coffee different. So if it's properly well done, I like it. If it's not, they'll go like, maybe just, farmers still here are like, oh, that was washed, you should just process it washed. Like, don't ruin my coffee. Like, even though they pay you more, they're like, oh no, I prefer like just a regular wash. And you're like, nah, but I think it's tradition. And I think that overall it's what we talked about. It's like, what have you tasted on your background? Like I remember when I went to Ethiopia and I did a cupping, it was just naturals. And I remember that I tasted a coffee, it was just like pure blueberries from Yemen. It was a coffee from Yemen. And it was like, it blew my mind. I got like, and I've never tasted it before, and I wanted so bad to find it again. And it's like, I probably have to go to Yemen now, or like buy someone from Yemen, but it's something that you seek for. And I think that what drives you to get different copies of I don't know, to taste.
I think we're spoiled now, and like, there's some cafes in Los Angeles that do such a beautiful job extracting, like, pour by the cup, so you can choose which coffee from a list, and they'll make it for you by the cup. And it's so much more beautiful than even what I can brew at my house. And I feel spoiled going there because I'm so lucky to have access to those places and those coffees that they're buying, and you trust that anything that's on their menu is going to be fresh and like in season and roasted in the last probably 7 to 10 days. And it can be hard to be satisfied from drinking something that's doesn't meet some of those criteria anymore, especially if like I'm brewing a cup and like it doesn't have any life when I add the water. It's not bubbling or alive still, and it's like this coffee's not gonna hit the spot for me because it's just okay. And that's the you become, after you've tasted these things like you're describing, like you can taste that coffee at your house and it's not going to be the same as what you tasted in the cupping room in Yemen.
I don't know, it's weird because it's sometimes like I want to taste something like amazing, but if I try to look for it, I get like really disappointed. But then I started just to drink, and sometimes I like, even for espressos, like it's like you want some specific espresso, but then you don't find it and you're like, like you get disappointed. I don't know. I like to think that you at some point you'll have it somewhere, and then you put better your espresso machine and you brew it yourself. But you want to be satisfied.
People ask me, that's one of the most common questions from friends, is like, what home, I want to make espresso at home, what machine should I get? And it's like, oh no, like you don't want to know the answer, because it's not just the machine, you have to have the grinder too, and then you have to have beans that you're like running through there more than once, and it becomes not worth it very fast, in my opinion. But yeah, I still like, I drink so little espresso now because I have to go somewhere to get an espresso that's gonna be good, and then when I do, it's just like, whoa, it's so special now, especially with COVID and stuff, going less to like coffee shops. It's a new. I get really excited like to have a really nice espresso.
And do you take time, like, it's like
a rare thing?
It's like, I'm gonna drink, because I remember, and this is not common, like for me or any. I don't know if it's for me, but like in general, like for me or here, like Latin America, you go like, let's drink some coffee, and then you don't go to drink coffee, you go to talk, and then you drink coffee
while you're talking.
Which is totally different experience. When I learned this from you, and it's like, let's go to coffee shop. I was like, whatever. Then we go, and it was like just have a coffee, and what do you like, and you drink it, and then you enjoy. It's like reading a book, right? Or like let's go drink wine, right? Focus and just enjoy it, and just like think about it. And people, I think that we don't do that often. That's one of the ideas behind this box, is to get people to like, try to like turn off the podcast and like put down the paper, whatever, and like just focus, like write some words here. And so you have to like connect what you're tasting in your mouth to some words so that you can write down something that will help you remember. And it's a different experience than just like sipping it while you're talking, because you're paying attention to, I taste some sweetness in there, I taste some acidity, it's kind of chocolatey, it's these fruits, like the roaster says it's passion fruit, whatever. It's like, do I taste that? Yeah, I kind of do, actually. Yeah, and I think that we're lacking of that. I think that, overall, it's like, even what you say, when you tasted so much specialty coffee all the time, and it's like, this is whatever, natural, but we don't often have the time to enjoy to ourselves that time, that little espresso time or whatever cup. It's just like, coffee to go, and let's go, and you start going, that was really good, I want another cup. But you don't focus and enjoy, and I think it's a different experience.
The pandemic made it special again in some ways, because there was almost no point when all the coffee spots I go to like completely closed. They had to change the service and like through the window, order at the door, order on the app, whatever. But it changed going for coffee was one of the things that I felt like I could leave the house for, and it was going to be a pleasurable. It's not like going to the grocery store to buy food or going to get supplies or something, but like going to the coffee shop was like still an experience. I'm going to have this, special thing that's going to be made just for me, and it made me appreciate again how special it can be to go to a coffee shop, and it became like a special trip, something I would look forward to. Like, hey, do you want to meet tomorrow? Let's get a coffee. And like, for a few minutes, you're out in the world when it's, wearing a mask or whatever. But it made me really appreciate how valuable the experience of going to a coffee shop is.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with you.
Yeah.
I'm going to go to a coffee shop now. I'm kidding.
Okay.
No, I mean, this is fun. Like, for me, like, I really like enjoy like all the time, and every time that we talked about coffee or we talked about stuff, for me, it was always a learning experience with you, and because it's a different just perspective about how simple life can be and how simple you should enjoy it. And I think I agree with you. With pandemic, a lot of people, it's weird because it's like, because you have learned to enjoy many things, and now that it's back again into real life again, it's like people kind of like start forgetting about all this stuff again that you were enjoying because, I need to get to work, I need to do this, and it's like so fast, like, that we should, it's better to just start enjoying life, and so my message from this today is like, how do you really enjoy the coffee? How do you enjoy the time? I wish that Revolve thing was on. And if it does, like the Revolver box, I wish that it was still on. Yeah.
December is only a couple months away. They'll have it for this.
True.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. How's Guatemala doing, like the coffee industry with the pandemic, the weather, the like migrant workers picking the beans and all these challenges?
Yeah, like just that one or just those challenges? I mean, overall, like I think that, specialty wise, it grew a lot this year. Like a lot of producers didn't produce that many micro lots because last year there was a lot of people like, making naturals and making all of this. And it was like kind of step back in a way of like, I don't want to make something that I'm not going to be able to sell, because there was a lot of contracts cancellations and like
shipping delays and like and
it affects everything, like kind of affected in good or bad or whatever. But this year the harvest was delayed, so a lot of coffees, like instead of April, they came out in May, and then added to that the global delay of containers. A lot of people are shipping their coffees right now, and obviously it's like, why are my coffees like so late? It's like, it's not about us, it's because there is no shipping, there is shipping delays, and it's like really weird to see a lot of warehousing that has a lot of coffees yet that they're not old, but the time that you normally think of, they're still milling. And then some of the younger, the lower coffees are starting to see that they're going to be picking up cherries like next month, and we haven't shipped everything yet.
That's That's really crazy.
Which is maybe I'm the only one that I'm looking at this, but in a way, probably it's a good thing that you always going to have Guatemalan coffee available in a certain point, like like Colombia, like there's 2 harvests, but but like it's weird in a way, it's good in another one. I don't know, it's just, I think, adjustment, but it's interesting to see how a lot of people the market like raised a little bit, so now people are still believing again in the coffee, like, I don't want to throw out my farm. It's all over the place, but quality in general, like it's going better. There are more farmers doing carbonic macerations and like experiments, more naturals and honeys. People, they don't know how to use or make honeys that well, but I think it's still the rain, like it doesn't help that much.
How is the how I don't think of naturals when I think of Guatemala, but is there farmers producing those intentionally?
Yeah. I mean, there's
because
more
they
and
see
more.
a market for it.
Yeah, exactly. Like the Russia guys, like they love naturals and they want to taste like crazy naturals. And Australia, it's buying naturals. Like Korea, like it's buying naturals. Like I think that overall, like you say, like people don't see Guatemala as a natural processing country. And there's probably like 2% or something. But if you present the coffees to them and then taste it, it tastes good. It's just becoming a regular thing.
Yeah. How are they drying those naturals when there's so much rain?
Well, when it's harvest normally it doesn't rain. Like it doesn't rain in naturals. But if they don't, they're doing a lot of building up the warehousing that it's like in the Colombia, that it's like drying beds, and then you have like this little house,
covered,
like covered, so they dry it in there, so it helps.
So crazy.
And if not, they're used to they see that rain is coming and they put it back together and they cover it. And then it's like, oh, sun again, and they just put it back again. It's like it depends on where you are. And they do natural, like depend on when it is, like when is it on the timing. If it's closer to April and May, like it will rain. But if it's in February and March, like it's okay to do it. So
is it even a natural if you're doing all this process manipulation?
Well, depending on what you call it, well, depending on the cure processing, if you're certificate cure processing, like you can know if it's or not. If it's a natural dried or processed, I don't know, whatever. How do you do it on tea?
On tea?
Yeah.
They keep all that stuff a secret. We don't get to see it.
Nice. I used to hear that. It's how do you dry blueberries? The same thing. Yeah. And then you put dry blueberries in. What am I talking about? We're losing them. I don't know. It's good. It's interesting. I'm going to send you some. I've been telling you this, that I'm going to send you some coffees, but I haven't sent you like good coffees because I don't want to send you like just regular coffees. When are you coming to Guatemala?
Well, when it's safe, first of all.
What do you mean? Like it's 3% of the population is vaccinated. So
yeah, and where did you get your vaccine?
Mine? I got it in the supermarket.
Yeah. In what state?
Oh, what country you mean?
Yeah.
Oh, it's like, I got it in Florida.
That's so crazy. It's really crazy and sad that's how I just read this morning, we shipped like 50 million, the US shipped like 50 million vaccines to Rwanda.
Yeah.
It's crazy. We have these stupidos in USA who don't even want to take the vaccine. So this like throwing away. I don't
understand that.
It's really crazy. It's really strange. It's like I mean, most of the people here wanted. I mean, right now there's vaccines because the United States donated. Yeah.
And but I don't understand why people like don't want to get a vaccine. And it's like, and I understand like about we're tired. I think the world is tired about wearing a mask, and people are like, I'm not gonna wear a mask and stuff like that. And it's like, it's for your like right now. I'm more concerned about my kid.
Yeah.
And like he could get, and he cannot get vaccine. So it's like, what do you do? Like.
Yeah.
And I don't understand why people don't want to get it. Like, it's like, it's the part of the world like hepatitis vaccine or like
measles
vaccine.
Yeah.
Like,
polio. Yeah.
And it's.
Yeah. Most of the world can't wait to get I was so excited the day I was going to get it. I was like, I felt so lucky that it was finally my turn, and like, I couldn't wait to get that thing. And, I was really proud and happy to be able that we have the science to change. Yeah.
Well, it's either that or you. I don't want to say you die, but the you know,
I don't want to be in the
are
hospital. Yeah, I don't want to lose my smell and taste, and yeah.
Yeah, you want to keep smelling your cat.
Yeah.
You know, like, are you dirty or not? And it's like smelling it. It's like, yeah, and like licking it to clean it. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I was gonna go to the SEA as well, you know, but I don't know. Like, no one is going. So
I see. I was just talking to somebody about that. Like, I think. I don't think New Orleans is like a place anyone should be traveling to right now. I don't think they're like doing a great job with COVID and vaccinations. But yeah, I haven't been on an airplane since the end of 2019 because I don't feel not just like the virus, but now there's these crazy people on planes like throwing like, you know, going crazy and like taking their mask off and yelling and causing all this trouble for the staff, and the plane has to like land or the police have to come and take that person. Like it's too much. It's too much.
Yeah, like it's too stressed to be about. There's so many stresses in life, like just to be stressed about that. Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah. I do miss traveling. It's been really difficult. And I thought that that's one of the things I couldn't wait to get the vaccine, because I was like, soon I'll be able to travel again and like go back to Japan and Guatemala and all, you know, other places. And I don't think it's going to happen this year. Still.
Yeah, I think probably it's going to be next year or so. I don't know, but hopefully soon. And I'm going to go visit you.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have a guest room here, and like usually people would come visit me a few times a year, from different places, but there hasn't been anyone here for a while. Too bad.
Thanks for your time, Brent Fortune.
Oh, sure. I'll send you the invoice.
Okay, sure. Okay.
What's happening? Something's happened. The connection is messed up. Oh, it's frozen. Damn.
No, I don't know. It was just great times. I think a lot of the times that we really just were in the car and like just saying so many.
You were like driving. I remember you said like driving in America is so boring. You're just like going straight for like.
I can.
Like the roads are just like so straight and it's boring. You know, every time I'm driving like that, I remember that it's really boring. Just like driving on to like San Francisco for hours. You're just going in a straight line. It's really dull.
I don't remember saying that to you, but it's me thinking like that. I remember, because we drove from Los Angeles to Santa Cruz and then San Francisco.
Yeah.
And it was like, it was like, to Vancouver as well.
Yeah.
But we needed to get a visa. Remember, I couldn't go because I needed to get a visa. I went to Seattle like just at the last minute.
Yeah.
That was crazy. Yeah. I mean, it's fun driving like in the city. Like if you drive like in the city, like in Portland, driving. But like just having to road like 4 hours, like
it's really boring.
Yeah,
that's why
so you need to start listening.
Trying to make these self-driving cars. Yeah, I know. It's exactly.
Yeah, just to hear silly people here. But yeah, thank you, Brent Fortune. I'll hit you in the next time. What?
It's good to talk to you. Usually, like you're so busy, and I cannot get. You know, I have to wait an hour to get a reply to my message. So it's nice to see you sitting down for a few minutes.
I'm taking my time to the right people.
I see.
Yeah. I'll call you on FaceTime next time.
Okay.
So we can chat more.
Yeah.
But and then we can, talk about more like a specific subject, or we can criticize the competition while it's online. Yeah.
We'll do a live. Yeah.
And it's like, he's pouring espresso. Oh, he dumped it. Oh, he sucks. He's gonna fail.
DQ.
Yeah. Yeah, we should do that. That would be really fun. probably going to be arguing you a lot of people for that, but just to make the competition fun again. I mean, fun, like what, you know.
There's this show on ABC. It's called Holy Moly, and it's like Steph Curry he's the basketball player. He made this show. It was his idea, but it's people playing like mini golf, like putt golf. And it's like, it's a really stupid show because it's not about like who's the winner. It's the guys that are commentating on the show. It's so funny, and they make so many like dumb jokes, and they make the holes like you have to like hit the ball, and then you have to like swing down this like rope and like grab onto this pole, and if you don't, you fall in the water. So it's funny to watch, but yeah, it's like that. Like
it's the commentary are the important ones.
Watching somebody like hit a putt golf is not that interesting, but they made a show just from making jokes and commentating on these guys.
Yeah, you could do a great job doing that. Anyway, what? It's great. Always to talk to you. Thanks a lot for your time. We'll put it on YouTube, and then we'll put it on Spotify so people can hear about it. Okay,
cool. Yeah.
Okay. Thanks for watching, everyone.
Yeah.
Take care. Adios.